Hey, what's up guys, Chad here, and thanks for visiting my YouTube channel. Now, if it's your first time here, make sure you go ahead and click that subscribe button below, become part of the community. Today I'm going to be answering a question from a subscriber, and I think I'm going to do this as part of a routine. Definitely get a lot of questions in through my YouTube channel. I also get folks who reach out to me through my LinkedIn account, and then also they'll find my email address and email me there. So because a lot of the questions seem to be around the same topics, I'll pick some of those out and I'll answer those questions on a weekly basis if I have enough questions. If not, I'll do that when I get a good amount of questions available, or at least enough people wanting to know about the same question. I'll do a video to answer that question. So this one I get rather often, at least one part of this question, and today it comes from, or this question comes from a subscriber named Chris. I have my notes are on my iPad. So this comes from Chris Zapita, I think it's how you pronounce that, Chris. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. But nevertheless, Chris asked 3 questions actually. He says, number 1, does ASQ require 3 years of experience to earn a Six Sigma Green Belt? Question number 2, have you seen many sales professionals transition into a Lean Six Sigma career? And then finally, question number 3, if so, what are some good steps to take to make that transition? Chris, appreciate the question, and I do get similar questions to this a lot, like if you're transitioning from one career to another. And if I remember correctly, Chris has quite a bit of experience in sales, something like 15 years I think it was. So I'd like to dive into this question. Now before I dive right into the tips for this question, I do want to say that if you are interested in learning how to use Kaizen events and Kaizen in general to build your professional career or maybe the business you work, why not become part of the community by subscribing to the channel, but also by getting on my email list. So what you'll get is an update when I have a new idea or some new topic that's come up. I will send you an update through an email, and that update will help you. I promise it's going to help you in your business or either in your career if you're in the improvement career. Now how to do that is go down to the description below, and there'll be a link down there to join a mailing list, or I think it's up in the description or up in the banner of my YouTube channel as well. And listen, I know your emails are already inundated probably with tons of information or tons of questions or things that you just aren't interested in, because if you're like me, sometimes you'll subscribe to things and then forget to unsubscribe. But I promise I won't do that. It's not going to be a weekly thing, at least not now. It's just going to be as these things come up and I get new information around interesting topics that I like around my career, improvement, Lean, Six Sigma, that type of thing. I'll share that with you as well. So Chris, the first question you asked, does ASQ require 3 years to attain a Six Sigma Green Belt? The answer to that is I believe so. I think they do require you to have at least 3 years of experience to sit for the exam. I think you have to fill out the affidavit for that. I got the black belt through them, but it's really easy to find out. If you go to their website, it should be really easy to find. But I do think they require at least 1 to 3 years to just sit for the green belt. Question number 2, Chris asked, have I seen many sales professionals go from sales and transition into the Lean Six Sigma career? And the answer to that is not really in sales. I wouldn't say, certainly there have been folks who transition from sales and other industries as well into Lean and Six Sigma or improvement. And so that's what I'll focus primarily on in this video, giving you tips on how to do that, which is basically what you ask in question number 3. So in this video, I'm going to give you 6 tips that I would do today if I were trying to transition from some other career into Lean and Six Sigma or some sort of business improvement field. And tip number 1 is why. I think you need to answer this question to yourself to make sure you understand exactly why you want to get into this field. Maybe you're unhappy with sales, maybe you're unhappy with whatever industry you're in and you're trying to transition out of. Completely understand that. The reason I say you need to understand why is because at some point, whether it be a colleague, a friend, a family member, they're going to ask you why you want to transition out of your field, the field you're in, right? And even if you don't get asked that question by a friend, a family member, or colleague, certainly you're going to be asked that when you go in for your interview into the improvement realm, right? So you want to make sure you have articulated that properly. Now, maybe in your mind you know exactly what you want to do and why you want to transition out of the career you're in, but that's not good enough. I would suggest you write it down on paper, because there's something psychological that happens when you try to take what's in your mind and write it down on paper. It's not as easy as it sounds. At least it's not for me. Maybe it is for you, but that's what I would recommend as number 1. Understanding why you want to make the transition, and then being able to articulate that in the written word and also verbally when you are on interviews or being asked in the elevator, right, as your elevator pitch. Tip number 2 is I always tell people to start where they are right now. So if you're in sales, right, there are probably opportunities or problems that you've seen exist in the industry, even at the place you work. that you'd like to see solved. Start with those problems first, because that'll give you some insight into how to start solving problems, right? And it's going to also give you an idea if you even really want to transition into the improvement realm. It'll give you that that experience and wisdom firsthand. Okay, do I really like doing this, or do I not like doing this? So I say start where you are, but start small and keep it simple, right? You don't want to start with a huge project that's going to be really complicated to solve. You want to start with small wins and get some of the small wins under your belt, and then build on those as you learn more. And that leads me into tip number 3, which is get some training. I always recommend that when you're trying to learn how to improve things, you need to learn how to define what the improvement is, or what the problem is. It's the same thing with articulating what, the reason why you want to go from your sales position over into the improvement position or improvement field. Articulating that down on paper is not easy. Likewise, being able to solve problems is very difficult, and it's always a good idea to get some training behind that, so you know how to structure a problem to solve that problem. And there's training out there like 8D, 8 disciplines, 5 principles of problem solving. Learn how to use A3s, which is a format for problem solving. There's a ton of them out there. They all kind of have the same structure though, right? There's a structure to solve the problem. And in fact, Six Sigma uses DMAIC: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. But they all follow some sort of a format. So making sure that no matter what it is you're trying to do, you go out and get some training. And tip number 4 is make a plan. The improvement field is used in so many different industries, right? You really do have a wide array of things that you could do. I mean, you're in sales now, but you could use improvement in sales. You could use it in manufacturing, healthcare, automotive. Right now I'm working in transactional improvements at a corporate level. So in the last 8 months, I've touched everything from legal and sales, through marketing, research and development, and even manufacturing. So it's really used in a plethora of fields, and you will have a ton of options there. But I think making a plan and trying to figure out which one you want to go into what would probably benefit you best. And sometimes, like I said in tip number 1, starting where you are, because you know all the problems that exist in sales, whether it be with sales, contracts, legal, all that stuff. You know where the problems exist there, so learning how to structure problems, your problem solving methodology around those things, and starting there will probably benefit you the best and help you gain exposure the fastest. And tip number 5 is to update your resume. Once you've gotten a few small wins under your belt, you want to update your resume for whatever it is you're improving, and keep it focused on these bullet points: quality, cost, and delivery. Usually when you deliver some sort of improvement or problem solving, you're going to be focused on quality, cost, and delivery, okay, for the most part. So you want to make sure you're focusing your bullet points on those and keep it metric based. In other words, if you save $50,000 per year, make sure you talk about that in the bullet point, but be ready to back that up with evidence if you are, if you go to an interview and they call, they're going to call you out and say, hey, you said you saved $50,000 here as a cost metric for sales. Tell me how you did that. And you need to walk them through the process. And a lot of times it's going to be walking them through the problem solving process that you learn from taking the training and actually solving the problem that you had. So the main point here is that when you update your resume, you want to capture 1 to 3 bullet points of some cost savings you've done that are improvements, or some things that you've done to solve a problem that the business has had. And tip number 6 is expand your network. Listen, you want to go on LinkedIn and you want to find groups and discussions that are happening around Lean, improvement, Six Sigma. There are tons of them out there. Check out isixsigma.com as well, because there's tons of forums over there. Go find some forums over on Facebook. I'm part of some there. All you have to do is go into the search bar and search a few out. You're going to find a lot of things there, and you're going to hear conversations happening or see conversations happening. And for now, I would say just read those things. Read what people are saying, read what the problems that people are having, and then later on, when you get some experience under your belt, you can start engaging in those conversations and then start posting on LinkedIn maybe about some of your savings. That's going to get you more exposure, and people are going to see that, and you're more likely to maybe land a job or gain some interest from other folks or other hiring managers that might want to pull you in. The idea here is to just get some exposure, expand your network, and then don't be afraid to reach out and do some volunteer work with no expectations. Perhaps maybe you're not getting the exposure you want in the current job you're in. You're not able to use the tools. Maybe you've taken the training so you understand how to structurally solve a problem, but you're not allowed to do that in your current position. Well, that might mean that you have to work after hours by calling some companies up, some smaller companies, saying, listen, do you have a problem? Or reached out to them on LinkedIn and saying, do you have a problem that I could come in and maybe work on or help you out? with solving that problem. You know, I'm trying to get into the improvement field, and all I want to do is help you out, and it'd be volunteer work, and I'm sure that you would probably get some people to respond to that, and if you don't, then you probably would want to join a local ASQ chapter. So joining a local ASQ chapter will give you that exposure as well, and then as you interact with the members of those whatever chapter you're in, because I am a member of a chapter, and it's really great because they know folks as well, right? So if you know 5 of them and each one of them know 5 other people, then you're expanding your network, right, exponentially. So joining that group and going to the dinners and the meetups and the things that they have there is going to give you a lot of exposure. And if you're interested in joining, getting into the improvement realm, telling them that you're willing to volunteer, they're going to know folks from businesses. They're going to want to help, but they are going to want to need your help or some kind of problem solved, and they can probably pull you in to get you that exposure. And listen, that's something else you can put on your resume as well. So listen, I know it is a big jump trying to change careers, especially if you've had 15, 16, 17 years of experience, but these are the tips, these are the things that I would do today if I was trying to go from another field of expertise into improvement, because I think these are the things that are applicable to today's world, given social media and all the meetups and groups and things that are available today. So if you like these tips, please give me a thumbs up on this video. Likewise, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next video.